Who are you taking at quarterback? You want Miami's Cam Ward or Colorado's Shedeur Sanders? Going to give you my pick here in this video. Quick disclaimer. When you do a breakdown video like this and you pick between two players, it's very easy for the comment section to get toxic very quickly, because if you pick one individual, the YouTube or Twitter world assumes you're saying, hey, they must not like the other guy. That's not what we're saying. I think if you were to land either of these guys in the NFL draft for your respective NFL franchise, you're probably in good shape. But this is a question now that I think the football world, for the better part of the next few months, is going to be asking. So we're going to try and give you our answer here at the top of this thing. First things first, make sure you are subscribed right here to the On3 YouTube channel. College football, nothing but college football year-round. Appreciate you being dialed in. And get me on the socials too, Instagram, Twitter, at JD PicKell. Let me know your take on this, if you would take Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders when it comes to this upcoming NFL draft. So here's the deal. Like I said, both went nuts in college. We're having this discussion for a reason. You're not wrong if you take Cam Ward. You're not wrong if you take Shedeur Sanders. I think both have a chance now to both have successful NFL careers, goes without saying. And I think both have, in some ways, like almost a similar play style. Both created at a high level. Both led their teams to greater wins than they had before. Obviously, with Shedeur getting in there and leading this team to 9 wins this past season after Colorado won 4 games the year before, and Cam Ward elevating Miami to a 10-win season, having only won 7 the year before. So both winners. If you're talking about Shedeur, though, the appeal is pretty obvious. Like, a lot's going to be said about his dad being Deion Sanders, and I get that. We'll talk about that. But in some sense, if you're going to talk about a New York, for example, taking a Shedeur Sanders, he's not going to have a hard time with the spotlight, from what I can gather. He's grown up with the last name Sanders his entire life. It's not going to be this massive adjustment that all of a sudden he's got all this attention. Like, the media coverage around Colorado in itself was enormous. It's not going to be a thing where he folds under that kind of pressure. Also, dude is tough as nails, man. Everyone who saw that first season at Colorado where they only won 4 games, it wasn't because Shedeur wasn't doing his thing. It wasn't because he wasn't laying his body on the line every single Saturday. Like, he just continued to get up off the mat this past season and the season before. And now the offensive line improved this past season. But dude took a lot of hits. And I think the way that he kept coming back for more until he physically wasn't able to should tell scouts a lot about the way that the dude's wired. Also, I mean, the arm talent itself speaks for itself. And I don't think we need to do too much of a breakdown there. But yeah, guy can throw the football around the yard. Now, I say all that. If it's me personally, I would lean towards taking Cam Ward. If we're talking about the physical attributes, I'm not an NFL scout, but I like Cam Ward a little bit more as a runner. Both are good creators. I probably worry a little bit more about Cam Ward when he breaks contain and gets downhill, picking up a first down if I'm an NFL defensive coordinator. But the thing that I like about him, if we're going to talk about both these guys being somewhat similar prospects, like you want to do a score on these guys out of 100 points. And we're going to say that physically, maybe you give Cam Ward the nod in some areas, like I just mentioned. You give Shedeur the nod in other areas. If it's going to be a difference of like maybe 10-ish percentage points in that conversation, I really love the way that Cam Ward has had to build to where he's at right now at Miami. Now, I say that, and it sounds like I'm taking a knock at Shedeur Sanders. That's not the case. He obviously did his thing at Jackson State, balled at Colorado. But when I speak to how they're going to translate to the NFL, I like the fact that Cam Ward has had to play in a lot of different environments. Talk about what he did at Incarnate Word at the FCS level. Then he goes to Wazoo. Then he goes to Miami. He got better at every stop. And also at every stop, it goes without saying, he had different coaches. Like, as much as I love that Deion Sanders has, I think, probably molded one of the best quarterback prospects in this draft in Shedeur Sanders, I would have to imagine now, if I'm an NFL scout, the question I have, whether it's right or wrong, is, well, hey, how's it going to be when Deion Sanders is no longer your head coach? Again, I'm not telling you that's a bad thing, but I will say if I'm Cam Ward, I don't have to ask that question. So if you think Shedeur Sanders is a better prospect, absolutely take him. But I get excited about the reality when I talk about Cam Ward. I know that he has been successful in a lot of different offenses, different places. I can't say this enough. I'm not knocking Deion Sanders. I'm not knocking Shedeur Sanders. I'm just saying I like the malleability of Cam Ward and what he's done to this point. Also, everything you hear about Cam Ward when it comes to intangibles gets me fired up about what that could mean for, let's call a spade here, a team that's going to draft him, that is in position to draft him for a reason. Like Cam Ward, when you talk about what he was in the locker room, you talk to people that know about what he was in the locker room, they use words like alpha, dog, relentless, competitor, leader, all those things. And again, Shedeur Sanders, I think, is probably a phenomenal leader in his own right. There's a reason they went from 4 games to 9 games won in one season. Dude's a leader. But when you talk about what you're going to have to be in terms of setting the temperature for a team in the future, I love what I've heard about Cam Ward and the way that could translate to wherever he ends up next. Like, I want the guy with the edge in the locker room. Like Cam Ward during a College Game Day interview said he played with a lot of hate in his heart because of the way he was overlooked in high school, had to go FCS off the bat. Like, again, kind of a violent approach if you're a quarterback, but I want that in my quarterback, especially when we're coming off a season, under the NFL franchise or making decisions for an NFL franchise where our locker room, more likely than not, has a losing culture. Probably something that a leader would have to turn around and spearhead, and who else to do that but your starting quarterback. So to be fair now, whoever ends up drafting either of these guys, as we evaluate them, it's very easy to give the Twitter punchline take whenever you see Cam Ward throw a pick or you see Shedeur struggle in different spots. Like, make sure we're evaluating for context. Because we talk about Bryce Young and CJ Stroud and that whole draft. Like, I think the verdict is still probably out on both those guys. But I don't think it's a stretch to say that CJ Stroud went into a better situation than Bryce Young did. Now, what's the verdict on their careers long-term remains to be seen. But I just think that's worth noting as you make your call here for Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders based on who you would draft, but also based on their success here when it comes to their NFL career. So let me say this very clearly. I'm a Shedeur Sanders fan. I think he will have success. I love what Deion Sanders is for college football, and what he's done as a head coach also speaks for itself. If you're asking me who I would pick between the two, I lean towards Cam Ward, obviously telling you again that if you took either of these guys, you're in good shape. So hope we haven't been unclear about our stance on this. Hope we haven't been unclear as to how we feel about Deion Sanders and Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward. But all that's to say, man, whoever you draft, you're probably in good shape, and I'm excited to see how this whole thing shakes out. So get us in the comment section. Let us know if you want to see more draft content, how you feel about this topic in general, if you would take a Cam Ward or Shedeur. For Cato on the ones and twos, for myself, JD PicKell, we appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We will see y'all next time.